Alright, tips and tricks, hygiene, and etiquette video. This is for my noobs out there just getting started in martial arts. Some little tips in there. Stay clean, be cool with your training partners. This is pretty much just to help you to not be that guy in the gym, the guy that nobody wants to be training with. Alright, so let's get into it. Number one, this is pretty much a universal rule for all gyms, is no shoes on the mat. This is like number one. So a lot of people, if you've never trained martial arts before, you might see, usually when they come in, they might step on the mat accidentally, which is a big no-no. You know, there's a bunch of germs and nasty things on the floor that you don't want on the mat. Why don't you want them on the mat? Because we're typically barefooted on the mat, and you know it's on your skin, bro. Your skin is porous. All that stuff will kind of get into you, especially if you're doing wrestling, jiujitsu. Your face ends up on the mat sometimes, and you don't want that stuff from the floor to be tracked onto your face. So that's just a basic idea of infection control and just not spreading whatever germs are out there onto the mat. We want to keep the mat as clean and nice as possible. So I'm half Japanese, so I'm pretty used to when you come home, you take your shoes out, or typically in any Asian family, you would leave them either outside, or there's like a little area when you first walk in to kind of just leave your outside shoes, and then you would have some inside shoes. So I kind of do the same. I have my outside shoes. I have some slippers, so you're going to need some slippers for training. I highly recommend that. And some house shoes. I'll show you real quick. These right here are my Panda indoor cozy house slippers. Clean the floor at the same time, stay nice and clean. Major key. Alright, so going along with no shoes on the mat is having slippers or shoes when you go to the restroom. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, okay, no shoes on the mat. They just walk around the whole gym barefooted. That doesn't make any sense. So on the mat, we're going to keep the mat clean. So when you're on the mat, no shoes. When you're off the mat, you need shoes or slippers. Especially when you go to the restroom. If you're in a big old gym, you know, it's kind of gross. You don't want to be tracking whatever's in the restroom to the mat, because that's just horrendous. But you'd be surprised. It happens all the time, kind of. And you gotta yell at people because they're just, Alright, so another basic one. Taking a shower, bro. Taking a shower, brushing your teeth. Just basic hygiene. There's some schools of thought that say you shouldn't shower before you go train, because then you kind of wash off the good bacteria or whatever that's on you to help defend against the bad stuff. But I like to be clean when I train, and then I just shower again after. But that's just me. Alright, so we'll get into the specific training stuff. Let's start with jiu-jitsu. So jiu-jitsu, you're going to want to have a nice, clean gi. I'd recommend having at least 2 gis. Nowadays, they're not too expensive. You can find a pretty good deal on gis. Sometimes I see them for like $50 to $100 for the cheaper side, which is not even bad. So why you would need 2 is if you're training every day, you really want to wash your gi after every practice. And it's better for your gi, the lifespan of your gi, to let them air dry, especially if it's like a perfect fit on your gi. You don't want to be drying it too much. I dry mine, but mine are kind of big. But there's different rules where the cuff needs to be at least 4 fingers. If it's too tight, your partners can't really use them. Use your sleeves as a control point. Just kind of cheating. So I would recommend 2. So you can wear one, wash it, let it, you could throw it in the dryer for a little bit and then just let it kind of air dry. And then use your second one. Because the worst thing you want to do is, work out and then you train that day, wash it, but then maybe it's not dried all the way. And that's when it's going to start smelling. It's pretty gross. Experienced it a couple times. And then yeah, so for gis, I got this old school one. It's Keiko Hasa. Old school Brazilian. This is like super thick. Right here, this is a honeycomb weave. Not sure if you can see it or not, but this thing's like a tank. Super heavy. That's what I like. And you're gonna want to let this one dry out. Another tip for letting them air dry is sometimes if you just throw them in the dryer, they'll get like kind of real hard and stuff. So throw some softener in there, help out a little bit. All right, so another option. So got a nice little pearl weave up in here, scramble. This one's dope because it has like a little rash guard lining inside. Some people kind of just go bare chested without a rash guard. I always wear a rash guard, but it's nice. So it's a little sweat wicking technology. It's pretty cool. So let's get into rash guards. So there's a bunch of different styles of rash guards. Got this type, which is kind of like just this cut off sleeve, which is cool, but I would always recommend going with a long sleeve. So this is going to help prevent all those nasty germs and stuff being in your skin. The more coverage you are, the more protected you are. So some people complain like, oh, it's hot, blah, 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 blah. We're doing jiu-jitsu. We're on each other sweating, grappling. It's gross, it's crazy, but you're going to get hot anyway. So I'd rather have that extra layer of protection. So yeah, there's a lot of people that make rash guards and gis nowadays. The quality's pretty good. Shout out to 10th Planet Youth Center, OG Whittier, Santa Maria Wrestling, boy. Yeah, you want something that's going to fit you nice, not too loose, not too tight. Make sure you get a correct fitting rash guard to go along with your set. So along with your gi, some schools, they'll make you only wear a certain color. Some gyms are pretty traditional and they just wear white. Some schools you can wear whatever you want, but you have to have their patches on there. So just make sure, that's like another part of like jiu-jitsu etiquette, just make sure you're following the instructor's rules. You don't want to be disrespectful on the mat, you might get beat up more. Okay, so with the rash guard situation, you're going to need some cool spats to go along with them. It's going to also help just cover your legs. Same idea as a rash guard. You're going to want to get some nice quality rash guards and spats, leggings. You could go with some cheaper ones, but they tend to rip, especially on the knees or in the middle, gusset type area. You don't want that to happen. Definitely don't want that to happen. Cheap ones kind of see through. This one, put a lot of miles on these virus ones and they're perfect. They're still super nice. Use them all the time. Alright, so one thing people tend to forget, is people with piercings, earrings, stuff like that, you definitely want to be taking that out for jiu-jitsu. Because things get snagged, gets crazy sometimes, and you don't want your earring to get ripped out or anything bad like that. Another tip for jiu-jitsu, I would avoid shaving before you go train. So you go, if you shave and then you go train, you're getting gi choked and stuff like that, you're gonna be all gross, it's gonna hurt. If you do cut yourself, you're more susceptible to like staph infections, ringworm, any type of open wound. You want to avoid that at all costs. So typically I'd say, you know, better safe than sorry. If you have a scratch or If it's a small scratch, cool, you could tape it up or throw a band-aid, but if it's kind of big or if it's in a weird spot and your band-aid keeps falling off, I would say just chill. I wouldn't train, I would just wait for it to heal. Alright, so another thing is your hair, bro. You definitely don't want to be rolling if you have like some slick, greasy hair gel. It's kind of gross, and you start sweating, it starts getting all over, and you want that on your face and your partner's training face. So I use more like of a wax style Gatsby. If you like, it's more like of a matte texture. If you like shiny, they have shiny stuff too. Not sponsored, but hey. And to go along with your hygiene is some safety. So you're gonna want a mouth guard. I would always go with a professional mouth guard, like $100. You just go get an impression taken, and that's all it is. 1 week later, you get a nice heavy. This is a heavy pro mouth guard. I would avoid the double ones because you just need the top, especially for jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, anything like that, MMA. You want to be able to breathe. Yeah, you don't want a super big one. And the super big ones kind of tend to fall out a lot. This one kind of just sticks in. I would avoid the boil mouthpieces. You kind of just boil some water, you throw it in, and then kind of mold it. Those are cool if you're just starting out. And if you want to take it more seriously and you're sparring and all that good stuff, definitely it's worth the investment. So along with that is cup groin protector. I would say the jock straps are better than the underwear. Some people like the underwear where it kind of just, there's a little pocket, slide the cup in. For me, it's just, can never get it to fit right. So if you're going to be sparring, jiu-jitsu, people are knee slicing, you want to protect that because that's very important. Next, this one is important for jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, MMA, whatever. Anything you're dealing with grips is you want to have those nails. They got to be correct. They got to come right with them. Come correct with your nails, bro. Don't be coming out slicing people. I have like scars all over my body from like people scratching me and stuff like that from training. So you need some nail clippers, bro. You can get these at the dollar store. So a lot of the stuff that I use, you can get it at the 99. You can go to the Japanese $1.50 stores. They have pretty good quality stuff, and it's cheap and everyday stuff. So a little tip for you guys that kind of just run wild with your nails. I would advise to start in the middle and then work your way out. I wouldn't start on the sides and then start coming out this way. Sometimes they can tend to be pointy and scratch your partner, and that's just no bueno. Especially you're doing Muay Thai clinching with people, you're grabbing their necks. Man, I've been sliced in the neck a bunch of times with people who just they don't understand hygiene etiquette, bro. That's why I'm doing this for you guys. Alright, so along with this, you're not done. So say you clip your nails, boom, you think you're good to go training, you just put like a really sharp edge on your nails. So you gotta think of it kind of like a can opener. They got those nice can openers now that kind of take the edge away. But say we're using, this is like an old school can opener. You have a really sharp edge, you can still slice yourself. So you're gonna need one of these bad boys, kind of like an emery board nail filer. Same thing, you get this at the dollar store. Typically what I do is you're gonna file it a little bit, and then after you're done kind of taking the edge off, you're gonna come this way and go downwards. That's gonna take everything off, and you're good to go for training. You're good to go for jiu-jitsu, making grips. Now you definitely want it short, especially you're grabbing the gi, the sleeve and stuff. Sometimes if your nail's long, you can get bent backward. Hurts a lot. It's happened to me before. You're good to go for Muay Thai. So what I was saying before, that clinch. No one's going to want to be clinching you if they get scratched every time. Last tip I would say, bring a change of clothes after. Because typically in jiu-jitsu, you're sweating on people. People are sweating on you. Especially if you're doing gi, those things get soaked, bro. So you gotta take that thing off. Even if you have a rash guard under, take the rash guard off, put a new t-shirt on, new shorts. You definitely don't want to finish training and then you're in your car, drive home, you get out of your car and you look down, there's like a big old wet spot from like the sweat, your sweat, your training partner's sweat. It's just gross. So you want to be able to stay nice and clean. Alright, so more on the etiquette side of jiu-jitsu. If you're first starting out, number one, I would say just go to class and drill what you've been learning. Whatever your instructor, your coach, your sensei, your professor, whatever he's teaching you that day, typically you'll learn a technique and then you'll do a little bit of live sparring or situational drills. I would say what you just learned, try and use that, because that's how you make it stick. I would definitely avoid going on YouTube and trying to look up fancy moves if you're not there yet, because that's just kind of, man. It's disrespectful to your coach. He's showing you stuff that most likely that he uses and it works, so just do that. Another thing I would say, focus on yourself. Don't focus on anybody else. I have students and they're just like, man, I want to be able to beat you. I'm like, whoa, bro, like that's not the goal. That shouldn't be your goal, is to beat the professor. You're just not good at it. Jiu-jitsu, the ceiling is so high, the learning curve, it's just not possible. Like I always say, think about, you go into a boxing gym, you have maybe a 1% chance of knocking someone out your first day just swinging crazy. In jiu-jitsu, that would never happen. You're never going to submit the professor, or say even a blue belt who's been there for a couple months. It's just not going to happen. So I'd say focus on the defense first. Focus on, just learn what the different attacks are. Learn how to stay tight and work on your defense, work on your escapes, and then learn how to attack. So attacking should definitely be last on your list. And I'd say, don't focus on your training partners. Don't say, oh, he's getting good, faster than me, or this or that. Just focus on you. For me, at least, the goal is always just self-defense. I want to be able to protect myself from the random thug on the street who's trying to jack me from my wallet or something. So typically, if you're doing martial arts, you're not going to be going around doing that. So a trained killer is typically not going to be a thug that you have to worry about. So you want to be able to beat some dude off the street before you think about beating your professor. Good luck with that. So along with being like a noob in jiu-jitsu, I would say tap early, definitely. It's good to see, how far you can take stuff, your arm and stuff, but it can only go so far before it snaps. So they always say, leave your ego at the door when it comes to jiu-jitsu, because it works. That's all I gotta say. It works. Let's see, what else? I would say, just be respectful. That's what the art is, bow, be respectful to your training partners, to your sensei, to your professor, coach. There's typically, in a lot of gyms, you gotta get kind of familiar with people. You get too comfortable, or you kind of start messing around, joking. That's cool, but I would leave that kind of at a minimum. You kind of want to be there to improve. You're not really there to mess around, really. So that's that. Let's see, another common mistake that beginners make is the instructor gives you a move, a sweep, something to do, and maybe you guys drill it once, twice, and then you guys start talking on the mat, which is it's just disrespectful to your teacher. You're wasting your time, your partner's time. You want to be drilling it, because when it comes to a real situation, you want to just boom, have it happen automatically when it comes to like either a self-defense move, someone grabs you, what do? Or if, just a typical move, an armbar, how do you do an armbar? There's like 20 steps to an armbar, but you need to be able to hit it as soon as it happens. As soon as the opportunity presents itself, you need to be taking that thing, snatching it, taking it home with you. Let's say the last one for that is once you do start becoming, getting comfortable, getting better at jiu-jitsu, is not to be a bully. See that a lot sometimes, not a lot, but you can see it. People kind of, maybe once they get their blue belt, they're like, oh, I have all this power, I'm gonna use it. You have to think about back when you started, if someone was just crushing you every day, you probably wouldn't want to come back. So say you are working with someone who's kind of a lower level than you, work something that maybe you're not so good at. Maybe work a sweep on your left side versus your right side. Work on whatever you need improvement on, and kind of just help. If you're getting better and your partner gets better, then you get better, and then it just keeps getting better. But if you're here and you kind of just keep smashing people or nobody's getting better, you want to get better, bro. Alright, so along with the gi stuff is your belt. There's like an old thing, I don't even know where it came from. I don't know if it was like Japan or Brazil, but people don't want to wash their belts because I guess they say if you wash your belt, you're going to lose all your technique. That's stupid. Wash your belt, bro. I think I was like a blue belt for like 7 years, bro. And if I never wash this thing, it's pretty gross. So wash your belt with your gi. You don't have to wash it every time, but if it's like soaked, bro, just wash it. Okay, so with kickboxing, I would say, say you're barely starting, trying it out. Typically, a gym will let you either try like a day for free or a week for free. Typically, they might provide you with some loaner gloves, which are like pretty much everybody, when they first come in, they get to use the loaner gloves. The gym will most likely kind of wipe them down after and kind of take as best care of them as they can, but I would definitely say go ahead, try it, but if you're serious about it, you need your own gloves. Just think about all the nasty stuff. Sweat in there, you don't want like ringworm or like staph, or like say you have a cut on your hand and it's gross in there, you could get like a wart and it'll just keep growing. You should have your own stuff. Highly recommend it. If you don't have your own stuff, that's only for people who are just starting out or maybe it's their first class, but if you're serious about it, definitely get your own stuff. Alright, so same type of idea with the jiu-jitsu stuff. We wash our clothes up every time we use it. Obviously you can't do that with a glove, but you can do your best to kind of wipe it down, wipe the inside, the outside. If you're using lace-ups like this, I like to just open them up after, let them air out. The worst thing you can do is like right after you're done training, you just throw them in your bag or throw them in your trunk and just kind of forget about them, because that's when they start smelling and getting all gross. So there's different styles of gloves, got a bunch of different right here. This one didn't really have holes in it, so I just took it to like a shoe repair place and he like put some holes in it for me for like $2. It's just help with like drying it out, airing it out faster. Sometimes, typically where it starts smelling first is like in this fingertip area. So you just want to let it air out. Same thing with the jiu-jitsu, having multiple gis, you just have multiple gloves. You don't want to be using the same glove every day because that's how it's going to break down, it's going to get smelly faster. And there's a lot of good gloves out nowadays for pretty cheap. You don't have to get like super top of the line winning $500 gloves. You can just get any, I would say stay in the range of maybe $100. I wouldn't go under that. Alright, so for the lace ups, typically I relace them kind of like a shoelace with the X's. It's just easier to kind of, after I'm done training, you just pull it, open it up, let them air out, and just open and they're ready to go. Also, once I'm done letting them air out, I put these, I guess they're like shoe balls, deodorizers. You can get like 5 pairs of these for like $5 at like one of the discount, like a TJ Maxx or Marshall's, Ross. They work really good for gloves. So typically, let them air out. Once they're kind of aired out, I'll throw a ball in there. They smell real nice, fresh, and clean. You want to really get the most out of your gloves. You're paying a lot for them. Say you do get more of an expensive glove, you want to